So, Bob, we deal with organizations of a lot of different sizes. And a lot of organizations, even if they're 25, 50 people, still consider themselves small businesses. And the question I get a lot is anybody really going to try to steal my data? Does anybody care about my data? Does anybody care about their data, Bob? Do you care about their data?
We always care about people's data. It's part of our job. But I don't think and this is a generalization, in the sub-Fortune 1000, I don't think there's targeting going on an everyday basis from threat actors. I think they are broadcasting phishing emails and the like in order to try to capture somebody that is not knowledgeable, is acting quickly, is not paying attention, hasn't been trained to look for certain types of messages, and bang, click, and all of a sudden something happens. They've let them in the door, they've potentially ransomwared their environment. I think that's the typical method. If we want to take it a step further and go to spear phishing, which is really a targeted sort of campaign of spam and malware to say, hey, I want to target that person. I'm going to do some research because I think their data might be valuable. That's probably the most targeted in the small to mid-sized space that people will be. I think it's much easier if you understand how the whole spam and ransomware as a service game works. The people that are attacking are not the people creating the messages and the code that's actually running on people's machine if you get impacted by one of these events. They're licensing it from some other business that's writing it. This is ransomware as a service. So there's a tier of businesses, and then somebody gets it, they package it up in an email, and they send it out to thousands and hope for the best. I think that is it's not a gold standard, but that's the typical of what we see is going on out there.
So why are they going after these small businesses? They don't have a ton of data.
They don't have a ton of data, but that data is important to them, and typically the small businesses don't necessarily have the resources, meaning money, manpower, time, to be able to invest in a program that has protected them like the Fortune 1000s. And that's why we, at Kyber, we're trying to use those types of tools and bring them down to a price point that makes sense for the small to mid-sized business to protect them like the enterprise folks. They just assume that the small guy doesn't have the protections and going to easily break through. And protections may be employee awareness training that we talked about previously. If you're not training your people and they're acting hastily, and it could be something as simple as, hey, it's somebody spoofing the president's email or the sales director's email. I need 10 $50 gift cards and I need them in the next 15 minutes. Give me the codes off the back of them. And they go out, they buy 10 Amazon gift cards, they scratch off the back, they give them the PIN code, and the money's gone because that's not who you're giving those codes to. You thought it may have been your boss or the sales director, but it's somebody that's intercepted their email.
So
targeted?
They're not necessarily targeted, but they're low-hanging fruit that they can get several small businesses' data, glom that together. Now they've got a big data set that they're selling, as well as...
we didn't even get to selling.
As well as ransomware from each of those, if it was a ransomware attack, maybe some cards, some gift cards. It's adding all this up to build up their economic value of going after the small organization.
Yeah, and that example of they've got your data and they ransomed you, now they've got you twice, potentially, depending on your backup, but they have your data. Maybe they've exfiltrated a portion of it before you cut the connection, but they can post that on the dark web, make it for sale, sell it, Lord knows how many times, and they've got money there. or they could decide to say, it's going to cost you 2 Bitcoins to be able to get that back. Well, 2 Bitcoins might be $40,000. Okay, well, in order for us to delete the data, you're going to have to pay us that. But my machines are encrypted. Oh yeah, you have to pay us for that too in order to unlock it. That's another fee that we're going to charge to unlock your machines and your data. So, they really thrive on the ability not just to lock up your data, but to be able to pull some of it out of your network before you realize it.
Yeah. So small business, big target.
Big target, multiple big targets. And then, maybe your cyber insurance company is going to pay for it. Maybe they're not because they feel it's a legal practice to pay for a ransom. So that there's a whole nother layer under there. Are you really going to be able to submit a legitimate claim if you
Sounds
have
like
coverage?
a future question we should answer.
I think we should put it on the list.
Thanks, Bob.
No problem.